Now next we study the terminologies called as errors in the sampling theory. So here we study two types of error called as type 1 error and type 2 error. The process can have four possible situations. Two of the situation leads to two types of the error. So that four possible situations they have given in a table form. In order to minimize these two types of errors, we need to increase the sample size. That is the solution of a solution to overcome the errors. We need to increase the sample size. Now, what is this error called? See, hypothesis is true. If the hypothesis is true, that is assumption is true, and if we accept the assumption, then that is a correct decision. If being a hypothesis true, the true assumption, if you are rejecting it, then you are committing a mistake called as type 1 error. Another possibility is, this is a two possibilities. With hypothesis is being true, if you take a correct decision, if you accept the decision, so that decisions will be correct. If you reject, error is occurred. So such type of error called as type 1 error. Now second one, if hypothesis is false and the false assumption, if you are accepting it, that is a type 2 error. If false assumption, if you are rejecting it, then that is a correct decision. So these four possible situations, you need to explain it when they ask you to discuss type 1 and type 2 error. Write the table form, then write what you have written in table form in a sentence. Okay. So here I may ask you, or it may help you to remember it easily, this table, if I give some example like person has done a crime. Okay, if I am taking a hypothesis as person has done the crime. Okay. So actually the assumption is true. It means he is actually has committed a crime. Okay. So that is a hypothesis what I have taken. This hypothesis is true also. So in case if I accept that hypothesis, the person has done the crime, if in a court the judgment is given as he has done the crime, means what? Correct decision, yes or no? But if with some evidence, if judgment is given that he has not done any crime, means what happened? Actually the wrong decision, yes or no? So that is called as type 1 error. The hypothesis is true. Which is the hypothesis I have taken? Person is committed a crime. So if judgment is given that he has done the crime, so right decision. But if judgment is given that he has not done the crime, but actually what it is, he has done the crime, he is a criminal, but judgment is given that he has not done the crime, then it is type 1 error. Okay. So if hypothesis is false, what is the hypothesis I have taken? A person has done the crime. If that assumptions what I have done on one person, he has done a crime, if it is false, actually he has not done, but I have taken assumption that he has done the crime. So in that case, if judgment is given that hypothesis is, if I accept the hypothesis that he has done the crime, but actually what he is not a criminal. So in that case what it happens, if judgment is given to accept the hypothesis, then type 2 error occurred, wrong decision. because he is innocent. I have done the assumption that he has done the crime, and if I accept such false assumption, then decision is wrong. So wrong decision. So such type of taking a wrong decision is type 2 error. And actually he is good. We have taken a hypothesis that he has done the crime, and if judgment is given that he is not a criminal, he has not done the crime, then that will be the correct decision. So here I explained this table with the example to avoid the confusion in defining type 1 and type 2 error. It may help you to remember this table. Okay. So the region which amounts to be a rejection of the null hypothesis is called as critical region or region of rejection. So this part of that I'll explain it with the graph itself. What the amount of rejection of the null hypothesis called as critical region or region of the rejection. Okay. I'll explain it by taking a graph in the next slides. Now, the probability level below which leads to rejection of the hypothesis is known as significance level. What it is? Below which leads to rejection of the hypothesis. See here, significance level, we are defining it based on the rejection of the hypothesis. So it is known as the probability level below which we are rejecting the hypothesis called as significance level. Which is that level? There are prominently two levels. For convenience we have fixed it is 5% level and 1% of the significance level, where we are going to reject the hypothesis, rejection of the hypothesis. So we feel confident in rejecting the hypothesis of 1% of level of significance and 5% level of significance. So it is understood that 5% level of significance can also be understood that the probability of committing error of either type 1 and type 2 is 5, it means 0.05. 5% means in a value 0.05. Okay. So here one more word I have introduced. What it is? Confident. I am confident in rejecting the hypothesis. So in the same way, I may have a confidence of accepting the assumption what I have done. Confidently I can say what assumption I have done is correct. So when I talk about my assumption is correct, I use a word as confident interval, which I am going to discuss in next line. Where I am confident of rejecting my hypothesis, because I know confidently that what assumption I have done is wrong. That terminology is what we use it as significance level. And the significance level for convenience taken for 5% and 1%. I'll discuss in detail all this concept in the next slides, in next forthcoming slide with the help of graph. So as I said, confidence interval. I am confident in which interval the hypothesis what I have done is correct. So when 5% is a rejection, then how much confident I am to accept the hypothesis is 95%. Yes or no? So the process which help us to decide about the acceptance or rejection of the hypothesis. But most of the time it is acceptance of the hypothesis is called as it is not a definition of confidence interval. It is a definition of what? Testing of significance. So the process in which help us to decide about the accepting or rejecting the hypothesis. What we are analyzing it, we need to accept or reject. That process is called as test of significance. and where we are accepting the hypothesis condition, we take it, that is of 95%. That is called as confidence interval. Okay. Suppose we take a normal population, mu is the mean of the population and sigma is the standard deviation of the population. I am making you to familiarize with these notations. Here two terminologies are there, which is that population and sample. We do a calculation using both the terminologies. Mu is a mean, sigma is the standard deviation of which one? Of the population. X bar is the mean of the sample. So this is notations throughout we are using it in this model. X bar stands for what? Mean of the sample. And small letter n stands for the mean of, sample size of the sample. Correct? It is called as a sample size, n, small letter n. Capital N is a size of the population. Okay. So in normal distribution, what we have taken it x minus mu by sigma. Yes or not? The standard normal variate in normal distribution, we already studied it as x minus mu by sigma. But here, what is the calculation normal? It is for population we are doing it. So when the data are very large, so for large population, nothing but a normal distribution. So using same standard normal variate, we are going to define it related to population and sample size. So little bit there is a variation in the formula of standard normal variate in the sampling. It is x minus mu bar by sigma by root n. So this is called as a standard normal variate in the study of sampling. Okay. So coming to that confidence interval, from the table of normal areas, we find 95% of the area is confident that values of z will be standardized value. It is minus 1.6 to plus 1.6. So we sell that 95% confidence that z lies between these two values. Further, 5% level of significance we denote it, that is z suffix 0.05. So mathematically we say that the standard normal variate z, which is defined as x bar minus mu by sigma root n, lies between with 95% confidence interval with minus 1.6 to 1 plus 1.6. This is the standard z value. At 95% in normal distribution table you are going to get. Okay. You must just now go through with that. I will explain it with this graph in the next forthcoming slide. I am repeating it. All concept what I am explaining it here will be explained once again with that graph. But here necessary for me to show you this slide also because this mathematical notations also you should be aware. Take this sigma by root n to the left side, also to the right side, because it lying between, so it holds good for both. So it is multiplied, so minus here it will become plus term. Now I need to define it for mu. Mu is what? It is for population, correct? So if I take this mu to left side, it become plus s plus mu. And bring this term, here when we multiplied we got this equation. Now I wanted to take mu to left side, so mu taken left side less than or equal to x and bring this term to right side, so becomes what? Plus. Now let me discuss about this. I need to define what is mu. So negative sign has to go, means bring it that to right side, so become plus. So here it brought to right side and bring this term to left side, so x minus. So I can say that mu value lies between this, mu is greater than this value and it should be less than this value. So that itself mu value is defined with these two terms. So this is called as an interval. So no, mu should be greater than this value and mu should be less than this value. So it 95% of what confidently I am asking you to accept the hypothesis with this interval. So this is called as confidence interval for 95%. Okay. Same way, if I from the normal area, from the normal table, if I say that 99% of the area means the z value in the table lies between minus 2.5 to plus 2.5. If I do the simplification as above I discussed for 95%, the confidence interval you will get, that mean of the population lies between these two interval, these two values. So x bar minus 2.58 to x bar plus 2.5. So the constant 1.96 is a standard value, z value in the case of 95% and 2.58 is the standard z value in the case of 99%. So in the confidence limits are called as confidence coefficient. These are the confidence interval. So this limit points what we are giving it is called as confidence coefficient denoted by ZC. Okay. Now let me explain it with the normal graph. See, when I take a normal graph, since the population is, we have taken it normally distributed, 5% if I am rejecting it, so here it is 2.5 and left side it is 2.5. So 95% is confident. The area where you are rejecting the hypothesis is called as critical region. So the shaded part is of critical region. In the same way here for 99% it is taken. So 1% I have to reject. So 0.5 in the right side and 0.5 in the left side. So 1% of rejecting means this area, shaded area is a rejection area. That is called as critical region. We already studied it. So this is called as where significance level, with which level you are rejecting the hypothesis. So at 1% level, here at 5% level what we discussed. Correct? So if you remember it all the definition using this normal graph, it will be easy for you to remember the definition. And what is the confidence interval? The mu value lies between minus 1.96 to plus 1.96 for 95%. And this 95% region what it is shown, this is called as accepting the hypothesis result. So it is called as acceptance region. Here it is 99%. This is called as acceptance region at 99% or 1% of significance level. Okay. So be familiar with all these terminologies. It is this concept we are applying it while solving the problem. Another concept we come across with sampling is one-tailed and two-tailed test. We may come across with some of the problem where accepting or non-accepting the test assumptions what we have done, it may be concentrated on both the sides. So both the sides means like this. It may be concentrated on both the sides of rejecting the hypothesis and accepting the hypothesis in both the sides. So it is called as two-tailed test. See the normal graph for two-tailed test like this, where both the side rejecting areas will be there, both the side of mu line accepting area will be there. So it is called as two-tailed test. We are applying it here at the significance level of 5% and 1%. Similarly, there may be the situation where we are interested only with the one side extreme values of the mean or a region what we have taken. So extreme side means one side, hence it is called as one-tailed. So for example, here I have given with the normal distribution, one-tailed normal graph. At 5% level of significance, all the 5% comes in one side of the line of mu. Correct? So 95% comes in the another side, completely left side of the line. So here Z value vary. For two-tailed, standard Z value will be of there 2.5, left side 2.5. So Z value vary from minus 1.6 to plus 1.6. But here it is 95% from left side to here. So 5% of here. So Z value will be of standard Z value for one-tailed is 1.645. It is right side if I taken. Left side if it is taken, it is minus 1.64. So it is left-tailed. Right one-tailed, it is left one-tailed. In the same way for 1% of level of significance. Right one-tailed of 1%. So Z value, observe that confidence coefficient vary. 2.58 plus 2.58. If I am taking left one-tailed, so minus 2.58 for 1% level of significance. So for convenience to remember that formulas, for one-tailed 5% what will be the critical values of Z they have given, what will be the critical Z value for 5% and 1% or for two-tailed. So this table you need to remember it. These are the standard Z values. Okay. So here I have introduced some of the important concepts which we need to know to solve the problems related to sampling theory. So in next class I will start with problems related to sampling theory. Thank you.